Okay, wait, okay, so wait, first of all, we are Simplify Homeschool. I'm Farah. Introduce yourself.
Well, no, you're too early. We get 2 more minutes in
We
case
have two
people
more
aren't here
minutes?
yet. Yeah, we're
Oh,
super
okay.
early now on this. It's so easy now.
So what, we're just gabbing about our lives? What's happening?
Our lives, they're meeting, 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 meeting. Next day, class, 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 class. Next day, meeting, 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 meeting.
Is
That's
that
how
your
it's
whole
been for
life?
it's my whole life right now.
I go to the theater. I don't know about you.
Oh, you go to the theater. I
Yeah.
went to the theater and saw Midsummer Murders again,
Oh,
and
yay.
it was better the second time.
Yeah.
So
Um,
that's all
it
the
was
theater I do.
better the second time.
Yeah, because the first time the actor from the show
Uh-huh.
got there late, it's like he was having some sort of crisis and he missed some of his lines and he was so out of sorts. And this time it was all good.
Oh, good. So whatever the crisis was a year ago, it was resolved.
He has teenage kids. In my mind, I was like, oh, it's probably something with his kids or something. Okay, if you go to our page, I put a link, but I'm not seeing it. So
I don't know. I got
okay.
nothing.
All right. We're 1 minute away and
What
then we will
did you
officially.
put it in the group? Did you do that?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
cool.
put it in the group.
Okay.
Oh, it should be. Oh well.
What?
On Instagram, but that's okay. I can't juggle anymore. I can because I've got like 5 devices in front of me.
I was gonna say.
So totally good. Okay. I'm gonna put this in Instagram.
I don't have ADHD, but like I do have perimenopause, so I don't know.
Yeah.
I can see
But
the intriguing print of the chair that you're sitting in every once in a while here.
what
Wait,
print? I don't know what you're
it's like
talking about.
green. There
It's
you
like
go.
what?
It's
Oh,
green.
that's actually something else, but
Okay. The wallpaper, the pillow, I have no idea.
a blanket.
A blanket. There we go. Okay.
Okay, I think we're good to go. I have no idea. I can't remember how I did this last time because last time I could see who all was joining us.
Yeah. So now we're just mysterious, I guess. Okay.
Okay.
You're sure we're doing it?
Well, can I be honest?
Okay. Okay. I can also double check. But here, let's introduce ourselves. We're Simplify Homeschool. And I'm Farah.
I'm Jilly.
We are, yeah, no, we're there. I see us. Yeah, you can find us here on YouTube. You can find us in our Facebook group, College Confident Homeschoolers. The confident part is pretty important, particularly to this conversation, I would say. And then
Hmm.
also, you can find us on our website, www.simplify4you.com.
You
Okay.
can also find us
So
on Instagram. You can
oh
find us
yeah,
anywhere.
Instagram, Facebook,
You
et
can
cetera,
also
et
find
cetera.
us in real life sometimes.
Oh yeah, also, yeah, we sometimes we do real life meetups. Okay, so we're talking about how to chill out while you're homeschooling high school. So, Jill, you are keen on this topic, so tell me why. Why are you
Um,
keen on this topic?
well, a couple of things. I'm not even homeschooling anymore,
No,
and
neither of us are, yeah.
and our group overwhelms me, even though I'm not homeschooling. Like it doesn't even
Well,
matter
and
to
you're an
me.
expert. Like we're experts. We're not just making this up. We're
And I'm
actually
like, there's
experts.
like everyone seems really on edge this year, more than I've seen in a long time, where it's just like everyone's nervous. They want to make sure doing the right things. They want reviews. They want to sign up immediately. It's just all this is happening. And I'm like, and then we meet with clients and they're like, well, I was in your group and I got overwhelmed, or I was in your group and I got stressed, or I was in your group and then I went out and signed up for 5 APs for my kid for next year. And it's like, oh, everyone just needs to chill out a little bit. You need to, your kid is going to be gone from home anywhere from like a year or to 4 years, depending where you are in this whole high school thing.
Yep.
And then they're gone, and enjoy them, enjoy this time with them, and just be aware of the student you have and who they are and the teenager they are and what's important to them. And do they have enough time for friends? Do they have enough time for this one activity they love so much? Do they have enough time of just downtime where nothing's scheduled for the day, where they can just sit and think a little bit, And do you have enough balance in your life where homeschooling isn't taking over everything? And are you enjoying yourself? And are you allowing all these other families to stress you out completely?
Especially like, and are you, if your level of anxiety about the college application process is really high, are you making that your team's anxiety too? Like, has this become a loop where you're feeding into each other's
Yeah,
anxiety?
I love that, because one thing I used to say to people is like, don't let your anxiety become your team's anxiety. Like, that's not fair. That's not
Yeah.
fair to your team. Like, just and don't feel like you have to prove how good of a home educator you are or how good of a parent you are through them and what they accomplish. It is
Yep.
not a reflection on you.
No, the same way that like when your kid is little and they occasionally have a little meltdown, like that is not a reflection on your parenting. This is also where your kid gets into college, not a reflection on your entirety of your homeschool. It just is
No.
not.
No.
And I do have sympathy because I think that like, there is an adjustment. You have to change your paradigm when you get to homeschooling high school. You have to think about things like credits. You know that you
Yeah.
are taking on a responsibility that you
Yeah.
should take seriously because you're responsible for providing like the paperwork for your student to go to college. And like that's an obligation that you have that is different from the things that you had to do before. And so, like, yeah, you do need to take all of that seriously. But, and so again, like there are these things like you want to have a sense of like,
Right.
what's required and like, if your student is prepared for the goals that they have. So, but like, I think that can easily become like this slippery slope where people are just riled up and also like in
Yeah.
some sort of like courses arms race. And, and it has become, I mean, like both of us teach online additionally too. So, we're college consultants. We do the whole shebang with families and students, like, the whole application process. But we also like as our side gig, we both teach online. And it's registration for classes has gotten crazy. Like
It's
it's
crazy.
not because there's plenty of courses out there, you guys, but like somehow it has become the case that everybody wants to register. Like at first it was like, well, kind of March was when, and then it became February is when, and now it's like people are like in December and January are like, what about next year? And it's like, you're not even halfway through this year yet. Like you don't even know necessarily if your student is successful in a class.
Yeah. And there's a little bit of like, there's some courses that are very well known that fill up a little quicker than others. And I get that. But even with that, there are other choices out there for that course. If you don't get in, if your kid doesn't get in, there's other things. And sometimes those courses work really good for some students, but not for everyone. Just because everyone's talking about it in the group or whatever doesn't mean it's the course that you need to sign your kid up and have them take. I mean, there's so many things to think about. You need balance in your kid's schedule. Not everything can be these high input, high output courses. I mean, for some students can work through anything. And they're like, yeah, that's great. But a lot of kids can't. And that's okay. That's 100% okay. And there's a lot of different courses out there, a lot of different providers. There's things you can do at home. Not everything needs to be outsourced. Home-based courses can be so wonderful and add a lot to a transcript. We were just telling a family about like, if you have some outside verification, no matter whatever it is, dual enrollment, AP courses, nice letters of rec, and SAT and that, you can have home-based interesting courses on the transcript and they can help your students stand out and show who they are when it's time to apply to colleges. Like there's a lot of choice here. Don't forget why you homeschooled. You homeschooled for freedom. You homeschooled to have your student be able to be successful no matter what type of student you have, and it's different for everyone. And a lot of the people sharing on a lot of these groups are the people whose kids are just super academic. And that doesn't make your kid any less by any means, especially if you're dealing with any kids with any sort of disabilities, whether it be physical or learning or any other issues. It's okay. And there's choices out there. There's choices now, and there will always be choices for college.
Yeah, I think like one of the best examples of this is like is something like art of problem solving for math is like,
Yeah.
people get into a group, they're like, what's the best thing to use for this? And they hear everybody saying like, oh, art of problem solving. Now, I think most people know that like that is a math program that is not for everyone because, at least if you've been around the block a few
Right.
times in homeschooling, you know that. And so, like that's not what it takes to be successful in math for a typical student. But the same thing is true for all these types of courses. Just because a course is like really good, like, or has a great teacher doesn't mean it's really good for your student or like,
Yeah.
is a great teacher for your student. Or fits your budget
Absolutely.
or your worldview or your like, anything. Like it just not everything is right for everyone. This
Yeah.
like when we plan, we're always thinking about this like with families, like is it balanced? Is it the right fit for you, for your student? Um,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, so I
Yeah.
understand there's questions. Are we going to do those? Is that what we're heading into?
We are going to do, I was just looking at one of the
I
comments.
could
Someone's
see
looking
that
for,
you were like,
just got a big smile on my face. Okay. All right. Let me go to, I have so many devices. This is my ADHD, but I literally like have 10 devices here, but let me go. I can do this. I can do this.
Can you? Okay.
Okay. So we're going to take questions. If you're on our YouTube channel, you can post the questions there now and I'll see those too, but I'm going to start with the ones in our Facebook group. Let's see, this is a long comment. One thing I struggle with is how much to worry about balancing the number of credits per year versus when courses are completed, since we follow a non-traditional schedule. I've typically tried to put anything from the summer before onto the next year, but I'm finding sometimes it makes one year look heavier than the other for credits. Do I instead include courses for when most of the work was completed? What about things that are spread out over multiple years, or is this overthinking it? This is a good question, actually, because you're using homeschooling to, a benefit there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say though, like, make a rule and usually try to stick to it, but the rule can be like the majority of the course completed in, as opposed to like exactly when
Yeah, like if you started
started.
it in freshman year, worked all freshman year, but then was still working on it
And you
into the
just finished
summer.
up a little bit in the
Yeah.
summer. So you could put it in freshman year. That's fine. Yeah.
Yeah. Don't overthink it too much. I mean, just put the credits down where it makes sense. You do want to have pretty much the same amount of credits every year.
Yeah. Yeah. And that should be, at least 6 and preferably 7. Is
Yeah.
much preferable.
Yeah.
If not more, depending on goals. But I think this gets us to like also like I think a lot of families are like really hung up on like little things like this where they're like, oh no, how does this look? How does that look? Sometimes those things don't matter as much as you're concerned about. So yeah.
Yeah. So a lot of times things completed in the summer, like if the student actually did it in the summer,
Yeah, it
like
usually
did a
goes on to the
course,
next year.
goes on
Usually.
to the next year.
Yeah.
That's usually how it's done. When working with students with learning disabilities, how do you have rigor but at their level? That's a really good question.
Mm,
Any advice for students with learning differences is appreciated. This is what I'm talking about, right? Like this is one of my things that I care most about is students with learning disabilities or physical disabilities, whatever they be. You can still find rigor. It's just rigor for your student, and one of the benefits of homeschooling is that school profile and counselor letter where you really get to lay out what you offered to your student. So maybe you decide your student has some major learning disabilities, AP courses will not work for your student for whatever reason. It's just an example. So then you put it in the school profile, AP courses were not offered to my student. And that's okay. And then you find other ways to find that rigor.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it depends on what the learning disabilities are and like what approach is needed, what the goals are, because it can just look so many different ways. But I do find that like just on a practical level, sometimes dual enrollment works better for students who have learning disabilities because they're doing less juggling with dual enrollment. They can take fewer courses at once because they're getting the whole credit in a semester instead of a year. Usually a semester, sometimes a trimester or faster, but like generally, so that it just, moving between things, even though like, it's basically the same amount of work, like more or less, depends. Sometimes it is honestly less work than an AP course, but or even a homeschool course. But like it just switching between things like is harder, like keeping your eyes on multiple balls. I think also like you can go slower and take a fifth year.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can really concentrate on rigor in some areas and just checking the box in others. So like we've worked with some students who are doing like, AP, math and science and, then additional like 200 level at the dual enrollment, like just really high level. And then like their English is just like, okay, we got through 3 books, like, this year and we discussed them and we wrote 2 papers and we really revised it. Like it just is because it's so difficult for them,
It
you
is.
know?
I would just like to say too, though, that sometimes learning disabilities can be even harder than that. Like my oldest did not do any dual enrollment, and he took a few APs that were home-based.
Yeah.
And that was it, because neither one would have worked for him at that time. And that's okay too, you gotta, but then he had a strong ACT score because you need some sort of outside verification. You have to figure out where your student with learning disabilities can succeed and then offer that to them so they feel good too. And it's good for their confidence and everything, and you can have very rigorous coursework at home that for them, you can have a lot of high input, lower output courses, and you balance that with math, which has to be done every year. And math is output. I mean, you just can't get around that.
No, it's really hard.
And everyone needs to work on writing skills, no matter what level they're at, like that's really important. But there's other things you can do. Sometimes you show rigor through activities, like really in-depth activities that the student is doing, putting so much time to, so that's really good. If you have a student who isn't doing a lot of APs or dual enrollment or anything, you want to find at least 1 or 2 outside courses with teachers who can write strong letters of recommendation. That goes a long way. So those are important. But just know your kid. I mean, really, you want to set them up for success. You want them to be successful. You don't want to be like, well, you should be taking a couple APs and you're not getting through them and then you feel bad, like you don't want that.
Right. Yeah, someone asked, will colleges consider the curriculum if it's all home-based with no APs? It just popped up. I'm watching the chat.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
I'm here.
they will, absolutely. Now, again, you kind of have to match things to your goals. Like if a student did only home-based work, then they need that SAT or ACT score significantly more. Okay.
Yeah.
Than a student
Which is like my son, right?
Yeah, exactly. And then additionally, if a student doesn't have any outside letters of recommendation, that closes some doors. Like they need, and it has to be a teacher and not in the family. So like, again, like, but you could do everything except 1 or 2 courses to get those letters of rec, and then have that score. I mean, so again, it just depends. But like if a student struggles with standardized testing, that could be a reason to try some dual enrollment and see if it works, to get that, and again, it doesn't have to be like your kid doesn't have to get an associate's degree. It could be 2 or 3 classes, just to get
really,
like a little bit of outside verification.
Let's just hammer that home. You do not need an associate's degree before you graduate. I'm so sick about reading about that. That doesn't, you don't need it. You just don't need it.
No,
I don't think it's adding the way to college applications the way parents think it is.
No, it's really not. And it also, I mean, it bothers me too, because it's like, okay, a lot of families who are pushing this, that really it's a speed run. Like they're not even, it's not like a great, it's not like a really great, like community college. Like a lot of the time they're doing a lot of stuff online, and it's not in depth or rigorous. And then they have a kid who, they graduate really early, or they think like, oh, they're so prepared. They're not, like, or their options get more limited by it. Like use homeschooling. Like even if you're doing these other things, use homeschooling.
Right.
Like, that's the thing.
Yeah. This other person just asked, what if they are STEM, all home-based, but rigor or letters are for music? I mean, music's great. It's great to have that. But if this kid wants STEM, they should have some letter of rec from like science or math or something. Yeah.
Yeah, ideally.
It's really important. And again, it can be maybe not the most rigorous course out there, but just a really strong letter of rec, you know? And that's really good. Okay. Should I go back to these questions?
Yeah, do it.
Okay. My son will be starting 9th grade in the fall. Yay. Any tips for getting students used to the longer hours and increase expectations of high school without overwhelming them? My son has generalized anxiety and ADHD. Yay, me too. And our middle school schedule has been more relaxed than some homeschoolers. As of right now, he has modest goals for college, most likely an in-state school, not too competitive liberal arts college. So first of all, I think it's great that he has modest goals.
Yeah.
It's a really great place to start. Yeah, I think it's great that your middle school schedule has been relaxed so far. That's really good.
Yeah, highly advocate for that.
Yeah, middle school should be relaxing and just a time to explore and try different things out and stuff. I would ease them into high school. This is like, Farrar often talks about how 9th grade, she taught almost everything at home.
Yeah. Yeah. And, I mean, my kids did like a co-op where they did their electives, and I made them
nice little
like
electives too. They were like architecture.
Yeah, no, it was, they did architecture and martial arts and coding. And I mean, it was just like, it was fun. Yeah. And I think I had them each try like a little short-term online thing, you know.
Yeah.
Sophomore year, I was like, well, I tapped out on math. So now, you know, and science, I was like, I'm not teaching chemistry.
No, thank you.
Yeah, exactly. So like they did those online, you know, but I still taught like, you know, English and history and like, you know, some other stuff. So like, you know, but by junior year, like again, so it just is this slow ramp up. So you don't have to like change what you're doing entirely. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely not. And you can find balance. Again, if this is why I felt so called. So a few days ago, I don't know if you saw this, but True and I decided to make a video for mock learning.
Oh, I did. Yes.
Where I was juggling.
Yes.
We were just having fun. And he's like, juggle for moth. So it was about juggling your student's schedule. You know, you got to have balance in it. And we say it over and over again. Some of these courses from providers like Moth, but Moth is not the only one by any means. These high input, low output courses, trying one for freshman year is not a bad thing. And then doing lots of things at home, or trying one for sophomore year. We have a lot of students who did True's Intro to Game Design, just happened to be more younger, like 14 years old. And it was so good. And a lot of those students, it was their first class online. They all enjoyed it. You know, find a course that they would enjoy. That has good reviews and not the most, like I wouldn't throw them into 3 APs, you know, freshman year.
No, not especially not the student that's being described there. You know, some students want that, are ready for it, like, you know, but it's not necessarily the typical, and it's certainly not a requirement that you do that. Yeah, I think like it's I would say too, like, you know, just because it's high school, like don't feel like you need to like so much is a balancing act, right? But do you feel like you can continue to help your student figure out their schedule, like, and executive functioning with them, like do it alongside them? Like, you know, we tell a lot of parents, like, you know, sit with them and figure out what they need to do for the day, like, so that they're not just sort of out there. I mean, homeschooling is hard, especially for high school if you've got multiple outside classes. And so if you are going that route where you want to outsource more, maybe because that works better for your student, like they're ready for that, they want it. You know, even if you're trying to keep it a little bit more low key, then sit with them and figure out how to do all of that, you know, like do that executive functioning so that you're modeling it for them so that you can slowly hand it off by the time that they're in senior year.
Yeah, absolutely. And then a little bit of a follow up, I think. Oh no. Yes, there is down here. Gosh, there are too many screens. I have new 9th grader this fall. They used to take your book club classes. Yay, that's nice. I would love to get advice on APs and dual enrollment pros and cons for 9th grade? And I think this is an excellent question because
Mhm.
oftentimes people go right into sometimes even 8th grade doing all this dual enrollment, and then where do you go from there? And it can
Yeah.
sometimes be a problem.
Yeah, I mean, I teach AP World History at AIM Academy, and I mean, I try to keep my class pretty lean, but it's not for everyone, and it definitely moves fast.
Yeah.
You know, like it. I find that my ninth grade, I find that like my juniors and seniors who take that class, who I always have a few, are always like, this class is like so easy for an AP. And I'm like, yeah, awesome. You know, and then I have like these ninth graders who are like, "Ah, I'm drowning. What's happening? You know, and it is hard. Like it is an adjustment. You know, for some students, it's a good one. um, and not all students are, you know, at
Yeah.
that like level, but it can feel that way, like, you know, to those students. Like it can feel like, okay, like this is a lot. So, but it does work out for some students. So I guess like you just have to know your kid. But
Yeah.
I would say like you don't need to do like if your student is starting ninth grade, like you do one AP if they're super advanced and have already been doing a lot of advanced work and are asking for it, maybe you do two. You know, I mean, same thing with dual enrollment. Like you try one if they're advanced and they're ready for it. Like you don't need to do that at all. Like no one needs no
Yeah.
student, even one
Yeah.
who's I mean, like we've worked with students who are pretty advanced and
Yeah.
they don't do any APs necessarily.
No.
So it just again, you have to know how your student's going to thrive and, you know, and fit that with their goals.
Right. I just want to say someone else asked about dual enrollment and how to know if
Mhm.
your student's a good match or whatever.
Mhm.
Dual enrollment, I think some people think dual enrollment's more challenging than it sometimes is. You know, sometimes dual enrollment courses
Yeah.
aren't that challenging. They aren't
No.
that great. And a lot of young kids could get through them. I mean, that's just the honest truth.
Mhm.
But some courses are actually really good. Depends where you're taking it, depends on the course and that. If you're
Yeah.
not sure your student is ready for dual enrollment, there's no rush. But the other thing with dual enrollment that's really nice is just keep an eye on that drop date. They can try it for a few weeks. And if it doesn't work at all and you can tell it's
Mhm.
not working, drop it and be like, okay, maybe we'll
Yeah.
try again in a year. We'll see, you know,
Yeah.
because again, you want them to be successful. And if it's past the drop date and you notice things are going real south real quick, you can always get a W. One W here or there is not going to kill anybody. You know, it's better than a bad grade. And it's better than the
Absolutely.
student getting their confidence hit because they weren't successful.
I get really frustrated when parents like leave a student in a class to learn a
Yeah.
lesson
Yeah.
where
Oh, I don't like
they're
that.
drowning. It's like, would
Yeah.
you know, don't let them drown to learn a lesson. Like it's they're still in high school taking a college level class. That grade is forever. Like,
Yeah.
you know, help. It's your job to watch that deadline, especially for the first class, like
Yeah.
the first couple. Um, yeah, I think, yeah. I, sometimes we talk to families where they're just very hesitant around dual enrollment because they're like, oh, it's going to be so hard. And it's like,
Mhm.
no, it's really not, especially like 100 level classes
Yeah.
in the social sciences and humanities are, I would say, easier than a lot of high school classes, certainly easier than like in terms of output, because they're more streamlined.
Yeah.
And so most of the time at most institutions with most teachers, at community colleges. And so it's yeah, I think it's fine.
Yeah.
Like don't be afraid of it either. That's what I would
No, no. Someone asked, do colleges look favorably on career path, choosing a major study skill type dual enrollment courses, or could those be skipped? I mean, those aren't adding anything to your transcript, but you know, like a study skill type course might be helpful, you know, to the student. But
Yeah. I think you know, the one exception is like there are some where it's like, you know, careers in healthcare or engineering where they go
right.
over those. That can look good to be like, look, I took this course, I understand and I know I want to go into nursing. You
It
know, like I've
shows fit to
gotten an
major.
overview.
It
Exactly.
shows
Yeah.
fit to major, which is really,
Mhm.
really nice. And actually, sometimes it's really nice for students to have that overview and be like,
Yes.
oh, I wouldn't like this at all. Or, oh, I would
Right.
really like this.
I especially for the engineering, not all community colleges have this, but some of them have one where it's just like an intro to engineering, and really it
Mhm.
just like it literally says overview of engineering
And it's like,
careers.
I like it.
Yeah.
I
I do
like that.
too, because it takes students through, like, what's civil engineering, what's systems engineering, what's chemical engineering. A lot of kids haven't heard of anything except engineering and mechanical
Mechanical.
engineering.
Yeah.
And so they think they want to go into that. This can help them, and especially for kids who want to go into engineering, like some of those, like, like materials engineering or stuff, like when they learn, they don't know what those are, and
Yeah.
they get an overview, they can find out, first of all, if they want that, but also like sometimes those are a little bit less competitive than mechanical engineering.
And
And
sometimes it's just an interest that they didn't even know was there,
yep, absolutely.
which is
Yeah.
really, really nice. Yeah, I
Mhm.
do like that for a lot of engineering students. I have to say, we've
Yeah.
recommended that many times.
Mhm.
Um, what exactly is a super senior year? So glad you asked. And when is it advisable, helpful, useful? How far in advance does one plan for that? If it's something under consideration, does it shift when a kid applies for colleges? So this is a really, really great question.
Mhm.
This is something I had to do for my oldest son. And he decided after he applied to all these colleges in his senior year. So you don't always have to plan for it super far in advance, but a fifth year gives a kid some time to maybe do some extra coursework, decide what they want to do, get ready for college more, decide if they're going to college or not. It just, especially with students with any sort of disability, it can be very helpful. It's not right for
Yeah.
everyone though.
No, I do think it's really good for students who, for whatever reason, weren't able to get through the coursework that would meet their goals, in terms
Exactly.
of college admissions and preparation. So, like I'm thinking of a student that I worked with ages ago who, there was a family crisis, and like, and they had been a little bit unschooly leaning, and then they sort of realized, like, okay, I want to go to college, I want to go to a really good college, I want to be prepared. And so they needed to take that additional year,
Right.
and so definitely a health crisis,
Yeah.
or like a mental health crisis. Those are always good reasons to potentially do that, because then
Family crisis, sometimes that,
absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah, so any of that is going to be a reason, but it also can just be like a student who, has a lot of potential, has goals, and is set on that path and wants to get to a certain level and apply to certain sorts of schools, at least as an option, and get through certain coursework, but they are a slower processor, have some learning
Yeah.
disabilities.
That was more
Yeah.
my oldest son. Like he got into a lot of schools that first time he
Hmm.
applied. And in fact, some really good ones, to be honest. But he
Yeah.
wanted more. He had hefty goals. And he
Hmm.
really wanted to try for Questbridge, which is very
Hmm.
competitive. And
Yeah.
so he decided to take, and plus he had health issues and
Yeah.
and he was a slow processor. And so he was able to take more advanced coursework that he didn't have time for yet. So
Hmm.
that opened up that, and he was able to apply all over again. And
Hmm.
it just worked out. And he did get matched with Questbridge. So it was really, really good for him.
I mean, one thing we've seen though is like some families, like it's just like they started ninth grade, they were kind of like not thinking about high school yet, they were a little too relaxed. The coursework wasn't
You can
really
never
there
be too
yet.
relaxed. No, I'm
Well,
just joking.
but the coursework wasn't really there yet. And again, it just doesn't meet the student's goals. And that's okay
Yeah.
too. So the student
Mhm.
doesn't have to, there doesn't have to be been some big crisis or
No.
anything, or like a major, it also can just be because, honestly, redshirting and gap years and all these things are really common. Someone just mentioned in the chat there, like that maturity can be a good reason.
Yeah, absolutely.
It can be, but I would say that often is a good reason for a gap year more. So like the fifth year, it can be for maturity, but it also like you want to have coursework that you're doing that's left.
You do. But
Mhm.
maturity definitely played into it a bit for my son's fifth
Yeah.
year, only that he really didn't understand. I mean, he did, but he didn't quite grasp that he would be going away to school and be on his own and doing all this
Mhm.
stuff. And I think he was like, whoa, I need to grow up a little bit more too. Like, so it did
Mhm.
play into it just a tad for him. My
Right.
youngest son took the gap year. I think that was more because COVID, to be honest, and he just didn't want to be on campus at all during COVID. But it also worked really well for him. He grew up a lot during that gap year.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw a lot of maturity come out. Yeah, which was really nice.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So someone said that the fit to major part is, and then somebody also asked about world languages, but this fit to major, like for engineering, and do we know of classes for that if you can't do dual enrollment for it? I would just say classes that are in your major is really useful. Like,
does ASU have an engineering overview class that you can do? I didn't.
Sort of. It doesn't have the best reputation, but you could do that. But like there's Well-Trained Mind has that engineering class, though we've heard mixed things about it this year.
Yeah. But you know what, like
a
an
couple
engineering
Christian providers do. Yeah.
an engineering week's engineer summer camp also can show fit to major, which
Yes,
is really, really
absolutely.
good. Like at Rose Holman or something. That's excellent.
Yeah,
That's
and the same thing is true for other interests. There's like pre-health career summer camps and all kinds of stuff. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. Is there another question before I go back to Facebook or?
Yeah, there is. Can you talk a little bit about world languages? Is the expectation for the student to be close to fluent before graduating high school, or can it be a slower introduction to another language? Oh my, it is definitely not an expectation that your student be fluent, like or close to it. Yeah. So if that's your thought, like, whoa, relaxed.
Chill out about that.
Yes, that's.
I mean, how many of us went through high school languages and then can barely speak a word today? I mean, I think there's quite a few, But the expectation is that you do a second language.
Mm-hmm. Yes, unless your student has a very specific, psychological testing language waiver,
which sometimes happens.
Your student should do at least 2 years and preferably 3.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have. You can get. I mean, we talk to families about this all the time. I mean, you can get a tutor and tailor it to them so that's a little bit more chill. They can use particularly like we like when they use like a program like online, like a sort of Rocket Languages or the ULAT or like Duolingo kind of things alongside a tutor so that they're very regular practice. They're advancing their skills, but you're just kind of continuing with it. It doesn't necessarily, that's the relaxed way to do it, Yeah.
Okay. I'm laughing for something else, but
okay.
I have a lot going on here. Okay. Having a 10th and 11th grader this year is making it all feel very real and stressful. This is why it's so easy to get stressed. One thing that worries me is whether I can really ever know if my kids' preparation and skills are really the same as other kids who look the same as them on paper. I think we're doing enough, but I have such a limited picture. While one part of me worries about them not getting into colleges, the other part of me worries about them getting in and then not being able to hack it. I think that's a valid worry that a lot of people have, actually. One thing I would just remind everyone, like if you go through a public school system or something, you're going to have classes where we have all had classes and the teachers are terrible and you barely get through the material and you end and you were like, I didn't learn a thing from that teacher. I don't know what we did this whole year, and like maybe I got an A or B, but I still have no idea. And that just happens sometimes, and homeschooling is really good because for the most part, online classes or doing stuff on your own, or even some of dual enrollment, the kids are learning. We research as parents. We research the teachers are going to be enrolled in dual enrollment. We want to make sure they have really good teachers. We research the classes online. If we're teaching at home, we really go above and beyond sometimes. And I think you just have to trust yourself and trust your kids that it's going to be okay. The other thing too is so many students, because we have worked with so many kids for so long, and I'm in contact with a lot of them afterwards. They're all like, this is way easier than I thought. Like high school was so much harder, to be honest. And and there's so much support at so many schools. There's the math center, the writing center. I mean, there's just options for them. I wouldn't worry about that too much.
It's so rare for us to hear from anyone that their student got to college and really wasn't ready. I mean, I have heard that story, but it's not the common one, especially for homeschoolers, especially who are making a real effort. It's the opposite. I think like in school, kids are just constantly like in a race to compare to each other, like, oh, I'm better at this. Now you're better at that. They just, there's a lot of sense of like, I know exactly where I stack up. I mean, schools literally rank them often.
Yeah.
And in homeschooling, you do feel like, oh, you're just sort of out at sea and you don't know where you are sometimes.
Yeah. Hmm.
But I mean, I do think this is a reason to like, do like one dual enrollment class or something. Like they will see that they are in good shape. Like, and you
It'll
will
make them
too.
feel better. It's good
Yeah.
for
And
confidence.
yep, say or just an online class, just something. They need an outside teacher anyway at some point. So again,
Yeah.
it doesn't have to be everything. But
No.
like this is a reason to do that, by 10th, 11th grade so that they know and like they're doing fine and you can take a breath. So I think that like a lot of the time we think about like the ways that like outside classes lead to more stress because there's the timeline, there's a deadline,
Right.
but it also can lead to less stress for some families and situations. Like it can
Yeah.
help because you get that, check in with reality. Also, like having someone else manage the deadline can be helpful,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
it's a balance again.
It is a balance. It is a balance. Okay. How does your student balance a rigorous course load with other commitments like clubs, sports, and a job? Do you shift some classes to summer, or are there other creative ways to keep them from burning the candle at both ends? Homeschooling is great for some of this stuff.
It is.
What do you
Um,
think?
I just think it depends on the situation, the kid, the goals, how stressed they are, like I mean, you don't want them burning the candle at both ends. Like that's
No.
bad. Like if they're not getting
No.
enough sleep, then it's
They
gone.
absolutely need sleep. They absolutely need time for themselves. They absolutely, yeah. Activities are super important to colleges. We talk about this
Mhm.
all the time. It doesn't mean that they need to have a job, volunteer, do a sports, and do something else really, like robotics. You need
Mhm.
balance in activities too. Activities can be home-based. They can be things that students do on their own. Those are just as valid. I love that video from Colorado College where they talk about activities because it's from a college. And they're like, we really just want to know how you spend your time, no matter what it is, and it's really
Mhm.
great. That's what they want to know. So if it's too much activities, you may have to pull back a little bit. But if they really love everything, like some students are so involved in robotics, and that's like a full-time job in the spring. Like it's crazy,
Yeah.
So homeschooling, you just have to find some balance. You can move things to the summer. You can try to get stuff done earlier.
Mhm.
Use homeschooling to the benefit of the student as much as you can. I think
Yeah, we
dual
used
enrollment, if you have tons of activities, dual enrollment's good for that because it's less courses at once.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah, we used to do, like, nothing in December for my dancer because it was nutcracker season. And so, yeah, you can juggle things and move them around. I mean, I think again, it just depends, like,
Yeah.
on the student and what the whole picture looks like. Because
Hmm.
sometimes families are choosing, like, I mean, it's everything that we're talking about. Like, maybe you need to choose less intensive coursework. Maybe your student would do better with like a dual enrollment schedule, like
Yeah.
a little bit more dual enrollment or something. So they're doing semester based. Maybe you move one or two classes to the summer. So all of those are, maybe you drop a class. Maybe your student is carrying like 8 or 9 credits and it's just too much. So there's lots of different options.
Yeah, completely.
Mhm.
So we have two questions. They kind of go together. ACT
Mhm.
versus SAT, or neither with a student who struggles with timed tests. And then someone here just said about
About
AP
the
exams. They're doing really
AP.
good in the course, but they're afraid that they won't do well in the exam.
Well, that one's easy. First of all, the AP class is helpful for admissions.
Yeah,
It it
absolutely.
it is more helpful in
Yeah,
some cases. In fact, in most cases, I would say for most schools, because they know what the curriculum is for that class. They don't know
you
what
know
the curriculum
exactly.
is. They know what AP US history is. They don't know what honors world history is.
Right.
Meaningless. Like, I
Yeah.
mean, meaningless is a strong term, but like it doesn't have the same meaning.
Right. Right.
And so they know that you've covered that. So that's super important. And the AP exam is no risk because you do not, other than like one or two schools that like
You
ask
don't have
for
to
you to
report
put all
it.
scores, you don't have to report them.
I just want to say something real quick because it's the the daughter that's really worried about it. I want her to know it's yes, absolutely. It's great you're taking AP courses. Don't stress about the exam. Some students don't even have access as homeschoolers to a seat to take the AP exam, and they just can't do it. But the coursework is still very valid and super helpful with admissions. That 100%. So she shouldn't worry about it. Absolutely.
Yeah.
ACT versus SAT for a student who struggles. What's the reason for the struggle? Is there something going on? Is there a learning disability? It's hard to say.
You just take one of each,
take a practice,
not the whole exam. It's the whole exam, but do it at home. Don't spend your money on it. I don't think there's a rule here. In general, I find that more students do better on the SAT than the ACT overall, because the ACT moves a little faster. But
yeah,
even then, we've seen it go the other way, where it's like, oh, this student with some learning challenges, and we're like, oh, this is gonna be, and then they're like, their ACT score is way higher. We're like, okay,
go do it.
Mm-hmm.
I think that trying a practice exam at home because sometimes the reason that students do so bad on these tests is the anxiety.
Yeah.
The anxiety gets the better of them. So let them try a practice exam at home for both of them. See how they do. It may be something else going on. Yeah. And it may be their score is so low, it doesn't even make sense. Like if you're spending time prepping for an SAT or prepping for the ACT, and you really need to do a lot of work for it to just even get like a halfway decent score, that time may be better used in an activity or an online course where you can get a letter of rec. You got to think about time and how much time students have and what's available to them. And is it worth it if they have to put a lot into it or not? There's always going to be some schools available that are test optional.
Yeah. Yeah. And I guess I would say that too, is like, there are test optional schools for homeschoolers. Just like people don't want to hear it. Like some people, now it may not be your state schools, because some state schools have all moved to SAT to reinstate, but but there are options out there. So
there are several. People keep hearing, because schools are changing the policies a little bit. So some are coming back and saying, no, we're going to reinstate the test. And an SAT or ACT score is always helpful to homeschoolers. That's just the truth, unless they're applying to a test blind school. So it's a good thing to at least attempt the practice exams and see where they're landing with it. I really feel that way. I'd love to hear about how to chill. We should all be chilling with regard to activities, especially when not aiming for super competitive colleges. What are the expectations in this area beyond the schools that want national awards and the like? I'd also like to know more about how to best keep in mind outside verification while remaining chill.
I feel like we've had this experience a bunch recently, where a family comes in and the parents are like, we know the activities aren't that great. And then they list the activities and we're like, what are you talking about? These activities are awesome.
This happens so much.
Where it's almost like we've been saying this. Because we've had it both ways. I think especially like a few years ago when we were, we would see more families who were like, well, what's the activity list? Does it even matter? It's just something that they threw on at the end. The kid didn't even know it was going to be there. And then, so that's a problem. But so it matters a lot, but, some families seem like they're overcompensating a bit. Outside of, honestly, I would say outside of these super tippy top lottery for everyone type schools, if your student is just doing stuff, then you're good, because the expectations are not they're not outsized. It just, the problem is more like when your student just has nothing that they're doing consistently, or there's nothing that, but everything counts, the D&D club, that counts. Like the volunteer thing, that counts. A summer job, that counts. Like summer programs and camps and stuff, that counts. Scouting and swimming and sports and, all that kind of stuff, like school type clubs. But cooking and baking and costuming and sewing
Knitting.
and crafting and knitting
Yeah.
and crocheting and, drawing and, all that kind of stuff can count. Like it
Music.
doesn't have to be part of
Music
an
can count.
organization.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Moderating the Discord for your fandom or your
Yeah.
the video game that you're really into, like that counts. Like, I mean, it really is like very open. And so
Yeah.
like, sure, they would love to see every kid have Gold Award or Eagle Scout or something. Like they would love to see, some those things are great too. But like your
Not every
student
kid
doesn't
has that.
need,
Yeah.
they don't need to win national robotics awards in order to have a solid activity list.
Right. So just the one thing that schools really like is an activity they do all 4 years. So if you can find something freshman year and they really like it, keep it going. I mean, that's something that's really good.
Yeah. And then
Also,
the second part of that was about in terms of
outside verification. And I just want, so one thing that frustrates me, because we see this in our group a lot, is parents coming in like the beginning of senior year and don't know where to get a letter of rec for their kid. And that's a really good point of outside verification. So try to find a course online if you can. It's even better if they can take a course like 10th grade and then take a course again with the same teacher junior year. That's nice. It doesn't have to be super high output courses. If your student is very anxious or can't work at these high levels, there are lots of different courses out there that would work. And if they don't like online, a local co-op is good. I mean, there's just a lot of different choices, but you need to start thinking about it ahead of time. Where can your student take these courses to get this outside verification? A test score is always helpful if that's possible, but it doesn't have to be. 1-8, some APs, some dual enrollments, whatever works for your student can be outside verification. Again, my oldest son did not have, dual enrollment at all, had a couple APs at home, and his major outside verification, he had lots of great activities. He had really good letters of recommendation, but he had that test score for him. So the ACT for him worked really well, even given the disabilities and stuff. You just have to find the sweet spot for your student.
Yeah, I would say too, like, I mean, we say it all the time, and we'll even have this with clients where we've been saying it for years, and we're like, no, that counts. In terms of like a course at home,
Yeah.
you don't need outside verification for everything.
Yeah.
And it's like, I think a lot of families need to hear it over and over again, like, especially if you're outsourcing most things, which is totally fine. That's okay. But like, you don't have to outsource absolutely everything. And even if you're outsourcing most things, you can still have some things at home that your student is kind of self-studying and you build a credit around. You don't need outside verification for everything,
Yeah.
especially once they have a little bit of that outside verification. Colleges are going to assume that all of the things that you're putting down, and please be honest, but like it is representative of
But
your
you
student.
don't need to like over explain a home-based course. You don't have to be so nervous and make it look exactly like a school-based course. They're going to assume if there's some outside verification that verifies the other stuff. And
Absolutely.
That's where you can find a lot of balance and just relax a little bit,
Right.
and chill out a little bit. I think we're about out of time, and I think we've covered most. Oh, no, there's one real quick.
There's
Yeah,
one
go ahead.
more about like, do you need to do dual enrolled, like complet English for both semesters? No, same thing for
No.
math, same thing for, all these. Yeah, no, it's fine to
That's
do it
why dual enrollment's so great for balance.
Exactly.
You take one class a semester and it's a whole credit. So that's really good. Okay, final words about chilling out. What would you say? Let's give our final piece of advice. Do you?
Why do I have to go first?
Because it's my idea.
Dang. I think, I see a lot of families like really anxious for no reason. That's the main thing that I see, and anxious about all the little details. And sometimes that even weirdly gets in the way of like the big picture. Like, they go like 30 questions about like, oh no, how the course descriptions are formatted, and did I do this right, and like this, and meanwhile it's like the kid, like their education like is not the, you've almost lost sight of it. So I would just say like, if you're focused on your student and what they need, then the other pieces are going to fall into place. Like ask your questions, like, but don't feel like you're ruining your kid's education that way. Like, those are the little things essentially.
Yeah. Yeah. I would say, honestly, I homeschooled 3 kids. They were so different. Like all 3 of them were
I
so
mean,
different.
my two were also really different. Yeah.
And it was a journey. It was a journey. It was one I really, really, really enjoyed. I look back on it and I'm so thankful we had all that time, especially in the younger years. I mean, how joyful was that? But even the high school years, teens are so much fun. They're
Mhm.
cool. They're becoming adults. They're interesting. You're like, wow, I made this person. It's amazing. Enjoy the student you have. Spend time with them. Let them be who they are. There will be a path for everyone. And if you're in these groups, including ours, which has gotten very big and it's a
Yeah.
lot of people, we can't control everything in there. If it's starting to stress you out, leave those groups, or just leave for now.
And know that the advice in there is not geared
It's not,
towards you and
and your
your
student.
student.
Yeah. Yeah. And just be aware that the people with the loudest voices aren't always the ones that are giving the best advice for you and your
Mhm.
student, because you have a
Exactly.
completely different student. I also, Farrar and I teach online too. So I run Moth Learning. That's a really
Mhm.
great place for anyone looking for like the first course, who are a little nervous. We work with all
Mhm.
students with disabilities and everything. We very much welcome them into the population there. So check us out there. Farrar is at
Yeah.
AIM and has excellent, excellent courses over there that
Yeah.
everyone
And
enjoys.
my 2 English classes, my graphic novels class and my
And
film and
film.
literature class, like those are chill English classes,
Yeah.
So if you're
Yeah.
looking for that, that's another one that's there. Yeah.
Quick plug. I am looking, just in case anyone's listening to this and would like to do, I'm looking for a TA for my queer studies club, book club with through graphic
Mhm.
novels. So I'm always looking for teens who want to TA and have like a
Mhm.
little extra position. I support them and I'm really happy to do that. So if anyone has a kid who would like to do that, that's the only class I have that doesn't have a TA. So
Aw,
yeah, I'm looking for it. So if that sounds like something your kid would like, send them my way.
yeah,
And
awesome.
just relax, because also your kids are going to be gone soon. You need to think about your next stage and what you're going to do.
Mhm.
That's
Well, and
important.
just and enjoy having them around, like,
Yeah.
that's important.
And
Yeah.
spend time on yourself. That's good too. You know,
Yes, exactly.
get to know yourself again. Yeah.
Yeah, whether it's in an adult book club or not, we need the Moth Adult Book
Oh,
Club.
I know. I'm going to adult book club. Yes. I got to do that. Okay. I'll do that, Lisa. Okay.
Okay, thanks everyone.
Thank you.
Okay,
Bye.
bye.